Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Qinglin Li. Today, I am here to talk to you about democracy and economic growth. My topic is analyzing the role of fiscal capacity on the relationship between democracy and economic growth. Okay, let's move on to the content. I divided my presentation into 6 parts, including introduction, research question, research objectives, literature review, research method, results and discussion, and conclusion. First, I'm going to look at the introduction. Populist politics and authoritarian regimes threaten free market democracies, leading to democratic decline. Some scholars have questioned the quality of democracy in developed industrialized countries, which they consider insignificant and even detrimental to economic growth. Moreover, fiscal pressures constantly challenge democracies, and high unemployment and inflation rates have somewhat affected economic growth in democratic industrial countries. The current political climate and fiscal problem challenge economic growth in such a context. So, to check the relationship between political institutions and economic performance, we explore whether the state's fiscal capacity moderates the relationship between democracy and economic growth. In this paper, we hope to shed light on the challenges developed countries face and offer potential solutions for policymakers. Then I will move on to the next slide. The paper's research question is does fiscal capacity moderate the relationship between democracy and economic growth? The study aims to investigate the factors that can influence and change the relationship between democracy and growth. Next, I will focus on the literature review. First, we examine the relationship between democracy and economic growth in 3 main categories. First, democracy promotes economic growth. Second, democracy hinders economic growth. And last, democracy is not related to economic growth. Another is the impact of democracy on economic growth. Then the second is we analyze the impact of fiscal capacity on the relationship between democracy and economic growth. Democracy, fiscal capacity, and economic growth are related. Democracy is the basis of tax legitimacy, and fiscal capacity is the ability of the state to raise tax revenue, and tax revenue is an essential determinant of economic growth. Fiscal capacity influences economic growth, so democratic governments raise adequate resources through taxation, and governments believe and they are accountable to the voters. Encouraging redistributive policies through taxation of higher income growth and thereby generated growth effects. Next is the hypothesis. The fiscal capacity increases the impact of democracy on economic growth. Then I will move to the following slide. In this paper, we use the World Bank and the OECD library website and the VDEM database to collect data for the variable. For the variable selection, we measure economic growth by GDP per capita growth rate. The GDP per capita growth rate is directly available from the World Bank database. We use a text database from the OECD library website to measure fiscal capacity. The state's fiscal capacity is measured by the share of income tax to tax revenue because income tax reflects the state's fiscal capacity. The VDM Democracy Index measures democracy. Next, I will focus on method. In total, our study selects data from 22 the European Union OECD countries from 1995 to 2020 to evaluate the impact of democracy on economic growth in these countries. We introduced the country's fiscal capacity to be studied as a control variable in the model. Our study constructs a model to analyze the impact of democracy and fiscal capacity on GDP as in equation 1. After data processing, we perform the t-test and Hausman test. I choose the fixed effects model, include individual and time effects in the model for regression, and generated time dummy variable. Meanwhile, to further investigate the moderating effect of state fiscal capacity on democracy influence on economic growth, in our basic model, we did interaction effects as in equation 2. Then, the moderating effects of fiscal capacity is investigated with equation 5 to make the interaction terms regression as much as possible so that the co-effects of main terms can be better explained. We centralized the interaction terms and add regional dummy variable afterwards. Next, I will focus on results and discussion. In our basic phase effects model, the income tax to tax revenue ratio is significant at the 5% level and and positively correlated with GDP per capita growth. This reflects that the strong state fiscal capacity, the faster its economic growth. Then include interaction terms and find that the effects of decentralization is not significantly related. To the extent possible, this reflects that the state's fiscal capacity does not substantially affect the moderating impact of democracy on economic growth in our example. Considering our sample, the country's context, and the transition period impact, we ran regression analysis, classifying our selection into CEE countries and non-CEE countries. At this point, we found very different results. However, for the CEE countries, the interaction terms is significant at the 5% level. Moreover, fiscal capacity have a significant positive association with economic growth in non-CEE countries. Finally, I will focus on the conclusion. In conclusion, our study analyzed the role of fiscal capacity in the relationship between democracy and economic growth in 22 European Union OECD countries. Our findings suggest that, while fiscal capacity did not significantly moderate the relationship between democracy and economic growth in the CEE country, because it substantially impacts the non-CEE country. We attribute this to the unstable political environment, the influence of populist politics, and the difference of economic reform that characteristic the CEE countries during the democratic transition period. Our study provides new evidence on how democracy affects economic growth in developed countries and were valuable insights for policymakers. In the future, the study can be extended through a qualitative approach and also through a competitive analysis of fiscal policy during different democracy transitions to explore the relationship between democracy and economic growth. That concludes my presentation today. Thank you for listening.